So I'm recording this in the second week of February 2020, and right now we're about a month into an increasingly significant uh, epidemiological episode with the coronavirus scare. This virus started getting reports about this from China, like I said, several weeks ago, and it's clearly very contagious and it's spreading very fast and it's fairly serious. People are dying from it in the thousands and probably more than we know. And there's a lot of debate. People are going, some are getting really scared and saying this could be a horrible plague and kill everyone. There are people who are stocking up on supplies, whether it be food or masks or medical aid. There's concern that the hospitals will break down. There's also people who think, hey, this is just like another flu. It's serious, but the flu kills lots of people. And I think what a lot of people are failing to realize is that this is actually a really great opportunity, because one of the biggest problems that our society has is inequality, right? We have the rich are getting too rich relative to the poor. Yes, it's true that poor people are doing better and better. They have more material goods than ever. They have disposable incomes, they have smartphones, they have color televisions and vehicles and air conditioners, and they're pretty comfortable by and large. They have obesity problems because there's too much food. But some people are becoming tens and hundreds of billionaires, and they have way more money than that. And of course, we know that they earn that money by sitting on couches and not doing anything. And that causes a lot of problems because the people who also sit on couches and not doing anything but are poor, that's of course just by chance, right? People who just sit on couches and become poor and homeless, that's by chance. And the people who sit on couches and become worth tens of billions of dollars, that's also by chance. It's completely random. And obviously, the people who are not lucky and don't automatically just by luck become rich, they are upset because of non-jealousy reasons, right? They're not jealous. They're just sad that it's unfair that some people win the lottery and they didn't. And this causes a lot of problems because then they're upset and then society doesn't work very well. Well, coronavirus offers a really good way to fix this because there's a lot of history out there and there's been a lot of studies on inequality. And inequality is, of course, the biggest problem that exists. So, absolute material prosperity doesn't really matter that much. It doesn't matter if everyone's doing well and has enough food and is comfortable and has disposable income and can, um, engage in extracurricular activities. That's not good. The most important thing is that everyone be the same or as close to the same as possible. Any deviation from identical outcome is a problem, and the bigger the deviation, the better, or the worse. The problem is we haven't found a good way to do this. Now, obviously, a welfare state could do it hypothetically, right? You have a really big, powerful government, and it will just take money from rich people and give it to poor people with no loss through bureaucratic friction, and that should work great. The problem is that the Republicans have made government that is corrupt and that is influenced by the people who have gotten lucky by sitting on couches and will do what they want. And so instead of giving welfare to poor people that will make things more equal, it just gives welfare to rich people by giving them tax breaks where it doesn't take as much money as it otherwise would. Okay, and so that's obviously a subsidy, and that's obviously evil. But we do know something that will make it better. And for those of you who are interested, there's a really good book on this, is The Great Leveler. All right, and this is basically a study on what will make inequality go down in a society. And it turns out that you can't really trust a government because government, well, is going to be corrupted by the capitalists and by the rich people, again, who are just rich by pure luck. Now, it's true that I want to support a powerful government on the assumption that it won't be corrupt, even though there isn't any way to do that. But be that as it may, we do know that one of the things that does make people more equal than anything else, and there's nothing that's even close to this. I mean, war, if it's really violent, can do it a little bit. Super violent revolutions can do it. So if you just line up millions of people and kill them, that can kind of do it. And, we've got some pretty progressive candidates running for president right now, especially Bernie Sanders, who it's pretty clear he favors that, which is, of course, why I'm supporting Bernie. Um, Famine will do it. So if you have a lot of starvation, that'll do it. But the number one thing, the very best thing for creating equality when there's inequality is plague, is disease. When disease goes through and kills people, then the more people, the better. You have fewer workers, the capital isn't destroyed, so the number of the relative value of each worker goes up. If half the people in your factory die and half the people in every factory die, well, the capitalists have to pay everybody twice as much as they did before. And we know that, the best example of this is the Black Death, where like a third of the people in Europe, third to half the people in Europe died, and wages went up a lot, and they continue to go up for like a year. So yes, people dying is bad. Yes, people suffering and getting sick is very bad, and it's sad, but inequality is actually much worse than people dying horrible deaths. And so if this can kill enough people that there will be a demographic catastrophe, and uh, wages will go up, and capitalists will lose a lot of money because the demand will go down, right? Because there are so many fewer people dead. I mean, just think how great it is that if half the people died, Walmart will have way lower profits because way fewer people will go to Walmart. I mean, that seems like a good thing to me. That's like a win-win. Not only that, but the Walmart will then have to pay a living wage to the people who didn't die who still work there. Now, I think that that is great. And that, as much as I love Bernie and as much as I love AOC, I'm not sure that they are going to be able to get through all of the corruption of the Republicans and the fat cats to make that happen. I think they want to try. Obviously, the people on their staff, their hearts are in the right place. But, if we were going to kill all those people, we'd have to use a lot of guns and a lot of bullets, and guns and bullets are bad. We don't want to buy guns and bullets because guns and bullets are bad. So if we could just have a disease, just kill everybody for us, that would probably be the best way to do it. And we would definitely lower inequality. And that is the number one issue that faces our society. Nuclear weapons, asteroids, war, terrorism, artificial intelligence, chemical. None of that stuff is really that important. I mean, the only thing that's maybe more important than inequality is climate change. But of course, climate change is caused by overpopulation, and if half the people die, China has 1 billion people. That's 1 billion too many, to be honest. And the same with India. So if these could kill all those people, now it's true. It's not doesn't exactly kill everyone equally. So if you are in a properly zoned uh, um, enclave on one of the coasts where you have a gated community and your kids go to a Montessori school and you have plenty of good health care that's way better than the stuff that the government's giving out, like many orders of magnitude, you'll probably survive, so that'll be fine. It will just be the poor people who will mostly die. But again, poor people dying, every person who's poor who dies will raise the average income, right? Because if you take all the homeless people and they all die of coronavirus, well, then all that average incomes that were zero, those are gone, and boom, your average income is automatically higher. And if we want to, one of the ways I like to make policy for the world is to look at just this one single metric, just isolate one little point, and then just ignore everything else. And then it's really easy to see, oh, well, if we just raise the average income, the way to do that is to kill all the people who have below average incomes, or disproportionately kill people who have below average incomes. And again, we don't want to use guns because that would mean we would have to help the NRA and the gun industry, and we don't want that. And we don't want to have camps and gulags because that reminds us of ICE, and ICE is clearly evil. I mean, it's really wrong to take people who enter the country illegally and put them back in the country where they came from. Obviously, that would be almost like Hitler, literally. But if we were going to have camps to liquidate them, that would probably be okay. It's just the two are kind of similar, and we don't want to be, there's guilt by association there, which we don't want. But if a disease killed everybody, then we wouldn't have to use guns, and we wouldn't have to have ICE-like concentration camps. And then the average income would go up. Workers would make a living wage, and the capitalists would have lower profits because there'd be lower demand. And some of them would even die as a bonus. So yes, a lot of people are upset about coronavirus, and they're worried about it. But I think that the more people that it kills, the better.